Nikon D500, the D500 scores on almost all counts. After 6 years neglecting the power APS-C action photographer, Nikon released the mostly impressive D500 DSLR, the little sister to the Pro full-frame D5. With the same autofocus and metering systems as that model, a high-sensitivity 20.9-megapixel seamless sensor, a large tilting touchscreen and 4K video, it hits most of the essential targets for a camera in its class. Only a couple of flaws knock it slightly off course. The D500's body runs $2,000, 1,730 pounds, 3,500 Australian dollars. The camera also comes in a kit with the DX16 to 80mm f2.8 to 4mm lens for $2,600, 2,480 pounds, 4,500 Australian dollars. Unlike a lot of kit lenses I've seen, this one's pretty good, and has a useful general-purpose focal length range equivalent to 24 to 120 mm. The lens is sharp, with a reasonable maximum aperture range that should match the needs of people who'd be buying the body and want something for routine situations. It takes more than just raw speed to optimize a camera for continuous shooting. You need the ability to take decent photos at high sensitivities. That's the only way you can use action-stopping fast shutter speeds and sharpness maximizing narrower apertures under a lot of conditions. Most activities don't take place in bright, direct sunlight. The D500 delivers a maximum sensitivity of ISO 1,640,000, highest in its price range, though the camera's native range stops at ISO 51,200, leaving 5 stops in the expanded range. JPEGs look clean through ISO 6400. At ISO 6400 you can still process the RAWs to obtain more detail, though the trade-off is a lot of grain and hot pixels in dark areas. Between ISO 12800 and ISO 102400, high 1, in JPEGs you can see some smearing and processed color noise, but it still retains modest amount of detail. Beyond that, you can still get recognizable photos at small sizes. Processing the RAW files doesn't help much. I suspect Nikon's performing some in-camera wizardry to produce what it does. Overall, though, the similarly priced Nikon D750, with its full-frame sensor, still produces better photos. The color rendering and white balance are excellent. Its default standard picture control increases contrast and you lose some highlight and shadow detail, and midtones are compressed, but the occasional hue shift is minor. The D500 is the first camera to bring 4K video to a consumer-priced DSLR, and the quality is quite good for an APS-C sensor, sharp, with a solid dynamic range and the same excellent color. You can see a lot of noise and shadows above ISO 6400, but overall it's peachy. It's fast. Really fast for its price class, with concomitantly fast and accurate autofocus. For single shots, the cheaper Canon EOS 7D Mark II performs about the same. Our charts overstate small differences in performance. Part of the slight lag stems from the 16 to 80mm lens, which is reasonably speedy but doesn't drive fast enough to keep up. At continuous shooting, however, with both auto exposure and continuous autofocus enabled, the D500 sustains a rate of 10.7 frames per second for an unlimited number of JPEGs and more than 40 RAW plus JPEG shots to the XQD card before slowing. With an SD card, the rate is still nothing to sneeze at 10 FPS. And the autofocus keeps up quite well, unsurprising given that it has the same AF system as the D5, though you really have to customize it to the type of action for best results. The camera can focus in really dim conditions, too. There's a one-shot exposure lag. For instance, if a bicyclist moves from light to shadow the first shot and the shadow is usually underexposed, but that's typical in cameras that support a maximum speed burst. Continuous shooting seemed to eat up the battery life and it depleted faster than I expected, but that may have been caused by the 90+ degrees Fahrenheit temperature when I tested outdoors. That's 32°C for the rest of the world. Battery life is still pretty good, though. I can also attest that the dust and weather-sealed body is impervious to sweat. The one blot on the D500 speed record is its live view autofocus, which is pretty slow. The shot lag in good light is about 1.3 seconds. And the continuous up and live view when shooting video isn't great. It hunts too much and feels too ratchety. I didn't try all the settings, though, so it's possible there's a combination that adjusts more smoothly and quickly. The display does support touch focus, though, which compensates somewhat.